Hi, my name's Addie, and have you ever wondered if you could actually recover from an ACL, PCL, and meniscus surgery in both knees? Well, here's my story. Now, before all this happened, I was a level 7 training level 8. I was having my peak season scoring 37s and 38s. I was so excited for summer, and then this happened. Err on the side of caution of watching this video. This is how I injured my knees, and it was pretty traumatic.
Much worse.
On Saturday, June 28th, my life completely changed. I hyperextended both my knees, and I was immediately rushed to the ER, where then I started walking, but everyone seemed a little concerned, and I did end up walking out of there. But I was doing a front handspring front tuck when I lost myself in the air, and I came out too early, and then I hyperextended both my knees, and immediately after that, I passed out. When I got to the ER, I was immediately escorted by my coach, who also works at that hospital place, and I'm so grateful for him and my coach, who came and followed me in the ambulance and supported me through this journey. That practice happened to be the last practice I was going to before I was going to go hang out with my family for my birthday during the 4th of July in Nebraska. So although traveling might not be ideal in some of these cases, it was definitely very helpful for me, and just being with family was very nice. In the midst of this injury recovery, we did get kittens, and that was very helpful in my recovery as well. The reason we got kittens was at first because we wanted more kittens, and we already had 2 cats, so we made a bet with our parents that if we could take care of our cats for a month, then we could get them. But I happened to injure my knees right before the due date ended, so then they ended up getting it for us no matter what. In the midst of all this, we didn't think it was that serious. We went to an orthopedic doctor, and she said it was a mild knee sprain and that I could return to full activity in a couple of weeks. But then my mom showed her the video, and she said to get the MRI. When we got the results back from the MRI, we were all very, very surprised. We had found out that I'd torn multiple ligaments in both my knees. I had torn my ACL, my PCL, and my meniscus pretty severely, and I would need surgery on both my knees. It was a bit of shock to me because I was walking and I wasn't really in much pain. My knees were swollen, but I had generally felt fine. So when they said surgery, I was a little confused, and after I got the surgery, it was almost worse than actually injuring my knees. The funny thing was, my surgeon, had told me I'm genuinely probably not going to go back to gymnastics, but that never really crossed my mind. I had always thought I was going back, and before my surgery, after my surgery, as soon as I got back into the gym and started training again and trying to get back to where I was. So in a way, I never quit. I was non-weight bearing for 6 weeks, which was a pretty big impact on my life, but I never stopped going to practice besides the first couple weeks straight after surgery, just to give my body time to recover from that extensive of a surgery. My grandparents came and helped me and my family through this whole process, which was so nice. I love them so much for it. First 2 weeks, I was in unimaginable pain. I was never comfortable going anywhere, doing anything hurt. I wanted to sleep all the time, but I couldn't sleep because I was so uncomfortable. I literally was yelling at my parents in the middle of the night to just sedate me because I wasn't getting sleep either, nor was I eating. And while all of this was very, very, very hard for me, the thing that got me through it was just knowing that I could possibly get back to where I was, hang out with my friends, and do the sport I love to do. I say this to stress the fact that any injury is just known as a setback. There are some injuries that can change your life dramatically. This was a pretty serious one, but I just want everyone out there to know that you can make it through if you persevere and push the limits. People were telling me no constantly, but I didn't let them affect who I was or what I was going to do with my gymnastics, because at the end of the day, it was me doing gymnastics. It wasn't them. It's their experience on it, but at the end of the day, I'm the one doing gymnastics. I'm the one who's pushing my limits, and I'm the one who really has faith in myself. And if I have faith in myself, I don't think that that's ever going to ever steer me in the wrong way. I had faith in myself and my gymnastics. I did end up staying in the hospital 4 or 5 days, unlike what my surgeon told me. He told me that I would probably be leaving that day and that I would be feeling a lot better than I did. I happened to be in an unimaginable pain and could not go home. We didn't have a wheelchair or any type of materials that we needed to transport me home because I was non-weight bearing for 6 weeks, which was very hard to say the least, but in the end I was very, very grateful for all the people at the hospital helping me out and just helping me out through this whole entire hospital stay, because it was pretty rough. When I got home, I think this was probably one of the worst times of my life because of the fact that I was in immense pain. I couldn't do the things I wanted to do. My summer had ended to an abrupt stop, and now I was just stuck in the basement, not able to move my legs whatsoever, and it took me a long time to come at ease about what had just happened to me. Because I was walking before my surgery, I hadn't felt the severity of my injury, so it definitely hit me very hard after the surgery, and in the 6 weeks I was not able to walk. Though in the beginning I did very much doubt myself, I knew I had to get down to business and I had to start moving my legs and strengthening my legs, because this was going to be one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life, especially with what I wanted to do and going back into gymnastics. It would be so hard, but I had to stay persistent and had to journal. I had to be in a very good mental space to continue doing what I was doing, because not walking was the hardest thing ever. Being wheelchair bound, it was all a very life-altering experience. It was the first time I came back to practice after my surgery. My coaches and my teammates were just amazing. And it truly made me miss gymnastics all over again, and almost gave me more persistence to go back to that sport, just to see my friends and my coaches and be in that environment. And although I was non-weight bearing, we still found a way to have fun in my house for 6 weeks, such as riding my sister's hoverboard and making her mad. That was pretty fun. No, you're telling me stop. Then get off. Doesn't this show how good of a driver I am?
See, you don't reckon anything in the next couple hours.
No! Turn it off! Turn it off! Emery, turn this trash off. picking songs that I don't know. I will try this on the carpet. This was the first time I had really left the house, and I'm so grateful to these two girls over here. They were the most kind, caring twins I've ever met. I love them so much, and they truly had a very big impact on my recovery, and I love them both so much. This was me lifting my leg for the first time and really jump-starting my recovery because I couldn't move my legs for a long time because they took a chunk out of my quad to put into my PCL. So it essentially had killed both of the entire muscles. People were concerned about me never being able to walk again because of the fact that my muscles and my quads were dead. And so I had to do a lot of leg lifting and quad strengthening before I could even start walking again. As well as this, I had to get the scar tissue out of my knees, so bending my knees was another crucial part of me being able to walk again. As you can see right here, my knee bend is very limited, but working through that every day did help in the long run. My sister was also very helpful during my recovery, watching movies with me and coming downstairs, bringing my makeup so I can start feeling like me again, and I'm starting to look more like myself, I feel like, in these videos because I am
good progress.
Like adapting to this lifestyle I now have to deal with. This was a very important moment for me because this kind of jump started like moving my legs, they were giving me workouts to do so I could start walking again, and eventually I did. I started venturing out of the basement, I started walking, and it kind of gave me a new like energy source, like I can do this, and it may seem hard now, but this might be more achievable than I first thought. As you can see here, I was standing, and shortly after that I did start walking, and after that I kind of went home. They gave me a workout and I would just kill it every time because I was so determined in getting back into the gym and getting back to my everyday life, going back to school, doing everything that I used to love to do, hanging out with friends, and it kind of was a monumental moment for me. Although this process was very slow, very aggravating, I still found joy in the little things that I couldn't do at first, but now I can do. So walking was a big step for me, literally. I'm just so grateful for the physical therapists and everyone who supported me in this journey, not only to just get me back on my feet, but also the people who have had faith in me in coming back to gymnastics. If you look closely, you can see my legs starting to look discolored. That was due to the fact that I had not been walking for a long time, and my legs would get purple, swollen, and that was a big obstacle I had to overcome because of the fact that I haven't been moving or doing a lot with my knees. I had to be really careful about not overdoing it. Along with this, my legs were incredibly skinny. I had lost all the muscle in my quads, and it was essential that I was eating, but the reality is I was not eating as much as I should have, which did in fact lead to me losing a lot of weight, which made it harder in my recovery process. Another thing that is very well known about me is the fact that I tend to overdo it. When someone gives me a task, I generally go over the number so that I'm more prepared when they come and ask me about it, which is very good in the sense that you want to work hard, you want to do that. But in my case, I really shouldn't be overdoing it because it can set me back another 2 weeks. If I do too much walking, then I could be set back 2 weeks because my quads are so sore from all the activity I was doing, or my legs were so swollen that I couldn't move them. The biggest thing I learned was a number of things. I learned how to handle soreness on another level. I learned how to be patient with myself and not just be frustrated with the fact that I couldn't do something. And it was definitely the biggest learning experience I've had to deal with. It was overcoming so much adversity, like climbing mountains that I didn't even know I could climb, and getting back to where I am now, no one thought was possible. My next challenge was tackling stairs, going up and down and learning how to re-bend my knees when walking. This was probably the hardest part. As you can see, I'm struggling, and I have to learn how to use crutches walking up and down stairs. Another big aspect I didn't really account was the mental aspect. Bending my knees was horrifying. I didn't think I could do it. I didn't think I could do half the things that I could do in this video. I'd still do things that I just didn't think I was ever going to do again.
And down with right even crutches. So crutches and I do them together. Hold on, time out. You adjust the crutches down. So if you do that, so I'll have you go ahead and bring the crutches and the foot down at the same time, if you can. You go. I got you. You bring the foot.
Along with this, I have the most supportive coaches ever. They have helped me through so much I can't even explain. Me pretty soon after I started walking, I do set goals for myself, and this was one of my goals that I had set for myself, was walking without the walker. Going into my next physical therapy appointment, kind of shocking my physical therapist and showing him that I can walk, almost proving to him that I can go back to school, I can start doing stuff at practice, but little did I know it would definitely be a way longer process before I would ever start doing gymnastics again. In this next clip, you're going to see me walking without anything, but if you look closer, I am walking pretty unstably, which is a sign that I did overdo it. Me beginning to walk again, however, was just the beginning of how insanely hard this recovery is. I had to do so much strength training before I could run, which took insanely long, and I had to do so many workouts. I was given a lot of workouts, but I was going back to school, and I did get a cake for my first steps from my coaches, which I'm so grateful for. Although I was going back to school, I was only going part-time because I was spending a lot of time working out and getting that strength back in my quads, and so that I could do gymnastics and I could walk without this knee brace on. Going back to school was a very big change for me because I had to deal with going up the stairs in school, so I did have a bunch of passes. The nurses were so helpful in this time in giving me like grace periods and breaks, which was very helpful. I was so happy that I was starting to get back into my normal life, going back to school. I even got my ears pierced, which I had really been wanting to do. I got my double piercing, which I was so happy for. I started feeling like a teenager again, living her life. And added on to this, I could start doing gymnastics. I started out small, doing bars and just doing giants, but I slowly started increasing, which it felt amazing. I can't describe the feeling I got when I started doing gymnastics again. Though I was only doing little to nothing, I was still hanging out with my friends at practice, cheering them on, and getting them ready for season, although I wouldn't be competing, which was a very hard thing for me. Along with my recovery process, I was making time to spend time with my sister and go watch her meets and spend time with my teammates and have fun. We ended up having a lot of fun doing the main event, which we do as a yearly thing, and we also did team photos together, which I had so much fun doing. following months, I was making a lot of progress in my gymnastics and my recovery. I started doing harder skills on my legs, and along with the physical aspect of it, a lot of it was mental. I had a lot of issues mentally going on, doing skills that I was scared of, but it was very helpful having my coaches there, and my teammates, and my parents. The hardest thing to this day for me is landings. As you can see, landing things for me, I would just scoop to my back for the longest time, which you generally can't do in gymnastics all the time because it can negatively affect you. This was the first time I had done a front tuck since my injury. I had made sure to bend my knees because I have a lot of trauma due to that. I also started doing vaulting progressions, which was really fun because before I got injured, that was my favorite event. As well as vaulting, I was also doing the fun combinations that I loved doing before I got injured. I also started doing twisting progressions, which were really fun because I loved twisting. Here a long time because this is now more recent. I have started putting my tumbling on floor. I also did this skill that led to my injury, which was a front handspring front tuck. Although this was mortifying, it was exhilarating to do again. Along with completing that skill, I've also started twisting again on the floor, which I'm so happy about. It was nice to see that all my hard work paid off when I got this Athlete of the Month award. I'm so grateful and happy for everyone who supported me through this journey.